Actually, it's really a perfect setup for what I'm about to do. I did not have this set up when I played for the showcase a couple of weeks ago. But if you will allow me, I'm going to do a couple of social experiments very quickly. Please free up your hands, if you would, all of you. Okay, here we go. Everybody clap your hands. Dr. Spears talked about minimalism before. I would say that's minimalism at its essence. Rhythm in that sense is everything. It's a heartbeat. You couldn't have not clapped if your life had depended. Trust me. And if you've ever been to a baseball game and you've sat there with, well, let's call it a soda or a hot dog in one hand, and then that happens, there's a mad scramble of stuff flying all over the place. Right? It's the desire to conform, but it's also the desire to feel that pulse and to join in with it, okay? It's the same reason I couldn't wait to get up there and say hello to Dr. Scarce in that way, because I was fixated on that minimalist drama. Very interesting. Okay, another social experiment. Hands still free. What's next? I've been a lot of sporting events, so I can't really help myself. But these are things, again, and believe me, these people that write this music, I mean, and it is, make no mistake about it, it's definitely music. They are making royalties until the cows come home by taking something very, very simple and making it very memorable. So if you've ever seen a commercial, I don't really watch commercials anymore because zipping through it. But jingles, for instance, very short, very brief melodies. A lot of times things that you can play the rhythm or sing the rhythm and without, again, sort of like when you're clapping, without your even knowledge or even being aware of it, you're hearing melody and harmony. You're attaching it to it. It's just like when you took the melody and harmony away from the song Happy Birthday, okay? So basically what I'm going to do for you today, using this as my tool, is sort of do a pop quiz through some classical repertoire, through some pop repertoire, through some film music, and basically we're going to, after each excerpt, I'm going to ask one of you to raise your hand, see if you know what it is, and we'll just see how we do. I have about 12 or 13 excerpts, so bear with me. This, I think, very appropriately, sticking with the sports thing that I have going at the moment, this will be the first excerpt. Yes, Star Spangled Banner. Incidentally, I am going to strike Happy Birthday from this list of tunes. But if you think about it, the rhythms are actually very similar. Happy birthday to you, all day and you sing. Right? Very, very similar. Something I had never, in all my years of hearing those tunes, possibly more than any other tunes I've ever heard before, those two, I had never realized that they had the same rhythm until I started putting this together. And I was like, oh my God, they're not that much different. So I had to actually play the rest of Star Spangled Banner where it actually diverges a little bit. Something very interesting about that. Okay, let's try another one, sticking with the patriotic theme. Some of these I'll give you little hints on, some of them I will not. All right? This, I think, is particularly relevant based on last week. Anybody?
Oh, yeah.
What happened last week here that was fairly significant? Yes, ma'am. Hail to the chief. Again, why didn't you stand up? Okay. Again, we sort of have voluntary and sometimes involuntary responses to music. Let's try another one, actually. This one, we're going to veer into pop culture a little bit more. Again, something that you have heard a lot. Again, stripping away the melody and the harmony.
Somebody was humming along to it over here, so I know something.
The intro to like those movies.
Exactly.
Intro to those movies. Exactly. Very good. Very good. So it's funny, like, when I'm up here, of course, I'm singing and I'm hearing it, so to me, I'm like, how can they not know that? But I realized when you're doing it and you just take away that element of it, it really is an interesting challenge. So yes, that's the 20th Century Fox introduction to all the 20th Century Fox movies, right? With the big spotlights, and you've seen it all, of course, anytime. Okay, good. All right, very nice. That's a good pickup. Some of these are tricky. Some of them you'll get right away. Here's another one, sticking with the movie theme. Mission Impossible. That maybe more than any other, if you think about it, the rhythm really doesn't exist without the rhythm. Very simple. What's that? Yeah. Actually, it isn't. It's, well, one, two, it depends on how you count it. I actually think
I
of
put
it.
a certain 2, 5, 4 so I can figure out what
Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Also, it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. But good for you. Things are very, very rarely phrased in 5. Okay? So, actually, I wasn't going to do this one, but because we're talking about 5, and I'm going to get into some classical repertoire, think about this one. What's that? Never mind, I'm not going to do that.
Before he even played.
That's actually,
Yeah.
that's no, very good though, because that's the beginning of Gustav Holst's The Planets, and it has a very low. You've all probably heard it at some point, but again, very unusual to have a piece that's in 5/4. That's Holst. Igor Stravinsky, famous for writing pieces and sometimes even ending them in a pulse of 7. Again, odd outside of 3, like 3/4, which is famous for waltzes and things like that. Having odd number groupings of rhythms tend to be very unusual, and they also stick out. Again, part of the reason I think Mission Impossible sticks out the way it does. Very good. Let's try another one. This is from a movie from a while ago, but also from a very famous classical piece. This, what I'm playing for you is the rhythm part, and actually this goes for about 12 to 15 minutes for the entire length of the piece. Yes, sir. Are you in the back?
Come on, somebody knows this.
Not a bad guess, but no, not from Star Wars. It's a classical.
Ravel's Bolero.
Yes, it's the Bolero by Ravel. So this is basically, of course, none of these pieces are actually played on tambourine, which is part of why it may be a little confusing. But it's Maurice Ravel's Bolero. It's about a 15 to 17 minute piece, and basically the snare drum plays that rhythm for the entire length of the piece. It's starts really, really soft and gets really loud at the end. But it takes 15 minutes to crescendo and build up to that. Very true, but imagine. So it's you probably heard it at some point.
Or some of us remember it with Bo Derek coming out of the ocean.
Well, that's what I was picturing, but yeah, it's from the movie 10, many years ago. Dudley Moore. Did anyone see the recent Arthur movie?
Yes.
Okay. So Dudley Moore was in the original Arthur. So honestly, I love that guy. Okay, let's try a few more. We're going to take away Happy Birthday now. Let's try one that I'm guessing is about 10 to 15 years old from being really popular, but I bet you guys will have heard it whether you wanted to or not. Okay, we have to take it back there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Macarena?
Exactly.
Repetitive rhythm, right? Very consistent. Again, if you knew it, you should have stood up, and I expected to see some Again, sometimes it's very funny because I used to play this game too when I was a kid. My sister was also a percussionist, and it was very much a challenge to see what our ears would lock onto. You know, sometimes you're hearing or the tune is not the right one. Sometimes if I don't play the right melody, I can totally throw you guys off. Okay, let's try a couple more. Okay, good. Let's try one from another classical tune. Who has ever seen the original Fantasia? Quite a few. Good. Okay. Very good. Let's see if we can catch this one. This man right there. Yes, it's not what Paul Dukas called it. That's The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which actually I think they just made that movie as well. But the original piece of classical composition used in Fantasia, and it is in fact Mickey with the Brooms. That is right, it's very repetitive, so it can be very difficult to pull out the little isolated sections that make it identifiable for your ear. Okay? Let's try another one, definitely from back in the day, but I know now that we have Cartoon Network, a lot of you guys will probably have heard this one. Yes, ma'am. Flintstones. Flintstones. Right? Exactly. Take away that rhythm and you don't really have a piece of music at all, do you? Not at all. Okay? Good. That's a good catch. Raise your hands if you've ever seen the Flintstones. Yes. Now you're going back going, the tambourine in that piece. I ask myself that question a lot, actually. Two more? All right, good. Let's do... Actually, these are all connected, so 2 more. This is another from the classical rep. This one you will get within about 2 seconds. so I don't know that, I would say it's the best music school in the world, but it's certainly on par, I think, with Indiana. I went to the University of Cincinnati. However, I was born in Raleigh. Definitely make sure that
I get scared when tambourine players start taking off their shoes.
So do I. It doesn't happen very often, thank God. Okay, because of that, this is my little, a few couple of tunes I think you will know. The first one is a six-note theme, and you're going to hear this on Thursday night when you watch the game. What is it? Sports Center. Da-da-da, da-da-da, right? You'll hear that Thursday night, okay? And now, for the grand finale,